Okay, good morning, everybody. Thank you for coming along. We'll just wait a few moments to see if anybody else arrives into the Meet the Teacher session. But welcome. And we'll just wait a few more moments to see if anybody else wants to join us. We've just put you on mute for a moment. That's okay. But if you do have any questions, then please just save them till the end. Or you can write them in the chat function as well on this on Zoom as well. That's the other option.
Trying to do it, but I think I can pin us to the top.
Would somebody be able to maybe give us a thumbs up or just unmute to say yes, you can hear you? Okay, just make sure you can hear us.
Fine.
Perfect. Thank you.
Yes, we can hear you loud and clear.
Thank you very much.
Do you want that? Sorry, do you want
That's right.
17 now.
Okay, I think we're probably around there. We'll let anybody else in if they arrive. Yeah. So yeah, welcome to the Meet the Teacher for Year 1 for the forthcoming year. My name is Mr. Kempton. I'm Penguin's class teacher, and I can hand over to.
Hello, I'm. Got off now. There we go. I'm Mrs. Gibbons. I'm one of the class teachers in Flamingos, along with Mrs.
And I'm
Collins.
Mrs. Collins, and I'll be in Flamingos on Thursdays and Fridays.
So we're the teaching team in terms of teachers for Year 1. We also have Mrs. Powers working in Penguins and Mrs. Harris and Mrs. Malik working in Flamingos as well. So that's the team for this year. Occasionally you might see other faces on the door during time when either we've got PPA cover, which is on a Wednesday afternoon, which we'll talk about, and there might be occasionally other teachers teaching certain classes because we're on training or we've got a slightly other thing to do. But those are the main people you should see each day in the classes. During this session is being recorded, and we're going to then share that with other parents who aren't able to come along to it. So if you don't want to be on the screen or anything like that, we haven't actually got it on the screen in terms of the pictures, but if you don't want to be on the screen, then please just hide your camera. We've put everybody on mute as well. So if you do have any questions, please save those until the end and we'll answer those at the end. Or just put them in the chat function and we'll be able to answer them just at the end from there. And I think those are the main things to say. I don't think there's anything else was there. So here we go. So we shall move on to the next slide.
So the structure of the day in Year 1 is obviously slightly different from reception, as we have moved away from the foundation stage into Key Stage 1. So our structure is that we have early morning work as the children arrive from 8:35 when we open the doors. Doors shut at 8:45 when we do the register, and we start phonics at 8:55. After phonics, we move into English. And then on Mondays, Wednesdays and Fridays, we have assemblies at 10:10, which the children will be taken into the hall for. On the days we don't have assembly, on Tuesdays and Thursdays, we do longer sessions in the classroom. Playtime is at 10:30. They come in from playtime at 10:50. We'll do fruit and maths. And then lunchtime is at 12 o'clock. They're taken into the hall. They have an hour for lunch outside, well, in the hall and then outside on the playground. And we start our foundation lessons, which are not our core subjects, in the afternoon. We do one at 1 o'clock until 2 o'clock when the children have a 10-minute playtime. And then we do a second foundation subject at 2:10 until 3:15, obviously with slight wiggle rooms for transitioning. And we'll be able to go through what the foundation subjects are in a minute.
Okay, so our core subjects in Year 1 English, which has got 3 strands to it. It's got the phonics, which is obviously really, really key in Year 1 because it's where we're teaching them the sort of foundations of our English code for their reading and their writing, which are the other strands of the English curriculum. So we do English daily, the same with maths, which has an arithmetic element in it. We follow the White Rose Hub scheme of learning for maths, which is absolutely fantastic. I think we all really enjoy teaching it, and it's very systematic and I will just say, even though sometimes you might feel that it might not be challenging them. So, for example, we're working with numbers to 10 at the moment, and some of the children are way beyond that. They're well able to count, all the way to 100. But the way we do it is to really ensure that they really, really have got a really deep understanding of what those numbers are. So please bear with us with the maths curriculum. We know where it's going and we know it works by starting gently. The other core subject is science, which we do weekly. We start our science after the first half term at October. PE we do twice a week. One session in Flamingos I'll teach, and Mrs. Gibbons will teach the other one. Mr. Kempton will teach both in Penguins. And you've already been informed of your PE days. They're Tuesdays and Thursdays for
both classes.
Yep, for both classes.
Yeah,
that's handy. So please send them in their PE kit on those days. Personal, social, and health education is one of our another of our foundation subjects. It's where the children learn to understand their own emotions, feelings, friendships, as well as how to keep themselves healthy. Art, we do all of these foundation subjects we tend to do once a week. So art will be once a week. Music, we won't actually be teaching the music curriculum ourselves because that will be on the day when we have cover for our planning in the classroom. Geography, we're quite excited to launch a new geography curriculum this year, so hopefully that will be going well. And history, RE, computing, and DT are all things that we visit once a week. Design technology is it's either design technology or art, and usually it's either geography or history, although there might be some time where there's a crossover. So that's our curriculum.
So we have educational visits and spark days, one of which we've had already. So yesterday the children might have hopefully come home and talked about a rocket crash, and you might have seen it outside our classrooms. So that was our spark yesterday, and the children were, really enthused, I think, about the rocket crashing and learning about the aliens that might have been in the rocket and then have disappeared into school. So we've had a sort of a whole day of it yesterday, and then a session today where the children have been talking about their experiences and learning and thinking about what happened as a result of the rocket crash. So we'll have spark days and things like that, generally at the beginning of term to launch topics. And then we'll also do other visits during each term. So, for example, in a few weeks, we'll have a local area walk, which we're going to do, which you'll receive a letter soon about that, permission slip to sign, so say they're okay to go on that. But then later in the year, all these spark days and educational visits are closely linked to our topics and what we're learning about in school. So later in the year, we'll be doing, we should be doing a tiger talk, and we're doing a zoo trip, which we're in the process of organising that and getting the coaches and things like that organised. And in the summer term, we're looking to do a Great Fire of London workshop and potentially a dinosaur and fossils workshop. Some of that may tweak or change slightly, but that's the plan at the moment. And we may add further visits and things in, but we'll let you know as and when that happens. But that's the plan for the year.
Can I just say the purpose of these spark days and visits is always for us to really inspire the children so that we can, really inspire them to do the best writing that they can, to challenge themselves in their writing and their general understanding.
Yeah, absolutely. And it just, obviously deepens all the knowledge and understanding of vocabulary and things like that we can obviously link to in part of our topic. So yeah, it's a really a great way of infusing the children. So in terms of assessment during the year, we will assess the children throughout the year in terms of where they're at in reading, writing and maths, and that will happen on a termly basis, and then we'll put in support and and strategies to move the children forward as a result of kind of those assessments. But a key assessment that happens at the end of this academic year is the Year 1 phonics assessment, which you may or may not be aware of. That just is a little activity that we'll do at the end of the year, probably sort of June kind of time, beginning of June, which will include 40 words, 20 of which are real words, and 20 of which are completely made up words with a little alien picture beside them, that the children need to read. And that's for them to really show their understanding and ability to kind of segment and blend the phonics sounds that we learn throughout the year. So that's kind of what happens at the end of the year. That's a government assessment that we would then do and then report those figures to the local authority and government as to where the children have got to on those tests. So they are effectively little tests, but we'll pitch it as it's just an activity with the children, much like any other activity during the year. So we'll be doing lots of practice activities throughout the year that children will participate in. We do. It's all linked to the phonics that we're teaching every week and the reading books that we send home to you to be able to read with them. And when we do that phonics screening, it's not a separate activity. We don't build it up like it's something a particularly special activity, because it will be very much similar to an activity that they will have completed throughout the year anyway. So it's not particularly any different, and so the children don't feel worried or nervous about it in any way, shape, or form. If you do have any further questions about that, please do come and speak to us, because we can answer those questions. But it's very much just an activity that we do as part of the school year that's similar to every other activity.
Alongside that is that the kids absolutely love it, which is really, really quite funny. Obviously, like Mr. Kempton said, it links through phonics. So it's everything we're doing in all of our teaching and all of our phonics lessons. But we do so many sort of mini practices and things like that that they don't even realize that they're doing it. And we find different games for them to participate in, and it all just becomes a fun activity and a fun part of phonics that they don't it doesn't change any way that they feel about it. So we feel that we've got quite a good balance of getting them to participate in it. So PPA is the planning and preparation and assessment time for the teachers to get everything ready for the following week or subsequent weeks. So we are all released weekly for this PPA time. And in year one, our PPA will be on a Wednesday afternoon, and the children will be taught by Mrs. Avison, teaching music every week, and Miss Nuttall, who will be teaching PSHE, and they will teach in both classes each week. So Mrs. Avison will do one of the foundation sessions with flamingos, and then she will do the same session with penguins afterwards, and vice versa for Mrs. Nuttall. And the children will get to know them really well. Our support staff will still be in the classes with the children, so they'll have familiar faces, and it's the time for us to get everything ready. So you won't see us on a Wednesday afternoon, but we are still here.
Okay, homework will be, we've already sent the reading books home, as you hopefully noticed on Friday. The expectation is, as it is throughout the school, is that the children read daily at home. Obviously life is busy, and occasionally there's things get in the way, so just let us know if you haven't been able to do that. But little and often is the best way to support the children with their reading. So please, where possible, read with your child on a daily basis. There's no need to put a big record a lot of information in the book, but if you just put the date and the title and who read with the child, then we collect, we add up, so we monitor how many times the children are reading at home, because we have a reward system based on that. So once the children have completed 50 reads at home on different occasions, then they receive a free book from school, to just really try and promote reading for pleasure and enjoyment. So there'll be sorry, I'm just thinking it's important that your child reads regularly. Yeah, so I'm just going to jump to the decodable books now, because there's two types of books that will come home. One will be a colour-coded book, which you've already hopefully seen over the weekend. Those are changed by the children as and when they need it, usually daily at year one, but as they perhaps start reading longer books towards the end of the year, they might keep them for a little longer. But we will, in the coming weeks, be sending the decodable readers home as well, and that book will be sent home on a Wednesday alongside the homework, and to be returned on Monday, the same day as the homework. And these should ideally be read every day, please. And sometimes parents think, well, we've read that one, so they're not going to revisit it. But we've really the best way to sort of secure the children's knowledge and understanding of the sounds we've been learning is the daily exposure to them, and that's why we send those reading books home. So essentially, daily reading, colour-coded books can be changed daily. The homework will go home alongside the decodable readers on every Wednesday, and both will be returned on a Monday.
Okay, so in terms of expectations in the school, the attendance is, your child is expected to be in school each and every day, unless they're unwell. Please do contact the school office if there's an instance where the child's not going to be in if they're unwell or anything. So the attendance expectation levels to be higher than 96%. So we do, and also we want the children to be in every day, because there's lots of activities going on, lots of learning that's happening that we don't want them to miss out on. In terms of uniform, we do have a uniform, Groveland's uniform expectation, which is readily available from the office. Please just be reminded that jewelry, including earrings, large hair accessories, dyed hair, and shave sections, are not permitted in school. So just please be mindful of that. And then also, Black trainers and brownie socks are also not permitted. So we would just encourage them to wear school shoes and things like that. Also, just as a bit of an ask, please, if you can avoid laces, so just please send your child in with Velcro shoes if they're unable to tie shoelaces for themselves just now, because it can be just a bit of, we spend a lot of time tying up shoelaces each day. So if we can, just try and avoid that unless they can tie the shoelaces for themselves. In terms of PE kit, yeah, the children need to come in on a Tuesday and Thursday wearing their PE kits. So they can just come into school dressed in the morning and they'll go home in the PE kits at the end of the day. So there's no need to get changed or anything like that. And that's the same for both penguins and flamingos.
At Grovelands, we have Grovelands values, which are a really integral part of the way we want children to grow and behave at school. And our 6 values that we do one each half term are kindness, respect, friendship, uniqueness, trust, and determination. And they are children identified showing our values in school will receive praise postcards that will come home that we will have sent to you. Other members of staff might notice something, so keep an eye out for those through the door. And it's just a way to celebrate children showing those values within class, so showing respect to the resources, to their friends, to other members of staff, to any of the adults they come across with. We might notice any of those. They might end up with a certificate in class from assembly, or also receive a postcard home just to note those values. And we have created promises within our classes that we will keep to our Grovelands values in school.
Okay, which links nicely to the behaviour system that we use at Grovelands. So the children have already, when they join the school, are allocated a house team, and it will be one of the ones shown on the screen there, yew, sycamore, chestnut or birch. Throughout the day, adults both in the classroom and around the school might award values tokens for children showing the type of behaviour that we want to see. So, you know, if somebody shows good manners, or if somebody sits nicely in assembly, or whatever it is, the adults might tell them to win a values token, which goes into the pot for the house team. They're quite proud of them. We often call them golden coins in lower down in the school. And then at the end of the each term, the values tokens across the whole school are totaled, and the winning house team will get some sort of reward. That's it.
Okay, so if you have any questions or concerns during the year, we encourage you obviously to speak to the child and find out what's going on. Please do come to talk to any member of staff in school who should be able to help. We encourage the children to talk to any staff member if the child has any concerns or worries in school. So they should come and talk to a member of staff or talk to a parent or carer at home. So we would encourage the children to do that. We would also encourage the children to write a little note to a trusted adult who can then investigate that in school. So that's if your child has any concerns in school or worries or anything like that. If you have any concerns as a parent, please, in the first instance, speak to the class teacher. If that has not been resolved, the next step is to speak to the phase leader, which happens to be me for Key Stage 1. If it's concerned about me or anything like that, then there's obviously, you can speak to the senior leadership, so Mrs. Coleman or Mr. Tuck. So there's a sort of an escalation process there. But in the first instance, if you have any questions or concerns about something that's going on in the class, please speak to the class teacher and at the earliest opportunity, because then we can get on and try and resolve it and look into it for you. Emails, if you have any email that you would like to send to school, then please just send that to info@grovelands.surrey.sch.uk, as it says at the bottom of the screen there. And then just highlight it to mark it for the relevant individual in school. So if it's one of us, just send it to that info account and it'll get forwarded on to us, and then we'll be able to respond accordingly.
I was going to say as well, often parents sometimes say, I don't want to sound moany or whatever, but if you're telling us about something that's happened in school, then it's really helpful, because we can, especially if we can get sorted out early on in the year, we can sort of address it and keep an eye on any issues that may be raised. Sorry.
No, it's absolutely fine. And obviously, just on the back of that, we're all very friendly people, so the doors are always open for you to come and speak to us if you do have a concern. But just in regards to the email at the bottom, if there's any change in who's potentially picking up, or there's something that you didn't manage to speak to us, just pop it onto there, because it will then come through to us in the day, so that we're aware of what's going on.
And also, if you're one of the parents that uses Breakfast Club, so you don't have that face-to-face interaction, the email is a good way of getting our attention.
So parent meetings, all of the parents will be invited to make an appointment for parent consultations. We run these twice in the year, in the autumn term, generally end of October, beginning of November, and then again in spring term around March. Parents with children with special educational needs will also be invited along to a pupil passport meeting every term to discuss targets and individual needs. You'll be aware of that if that is the case for you. But we welcome you to parents' evenings, and we really encourage you to come along because we love to talk to you about how everything is going and show you what they've been up to.
Okay, so that's the end of the major, so all the slides we have. I'll just see, has anybody got any questions that they can let's have a look. So let's try and find, if you wanted to unmute yourself. I can't see anything in the chat. Yeah.
Equally, if you've got a specific question that you don't necessarily want to put into the group, please do just come and ask us on the door if necessary.
Sorry, I missed the first 5 minutes of the call, so I was on a work meeting. But I was wondering, what sort of trips are they doing for year one? Is it just one trip, or?
It will be on the slide. We have been through. We tried to do. I think we've got a zoo trip and workshops coming in the new year. But there is a slide relating to that. So if you want to watch the video when it's published, that should be answered.
Perfect. Thank you.
Pleasure.
No, tapestry is no longer used in year one. That is for early years only.
Has anybody else got any other questions they might want to ask?
Oh, that's a really good sign.
Also, for dance and football, kids will get help getting changed. Yeah, I think so. That will happen in terms of those specific clubs.
Yeah.
Yes. So,
but with the football club, can we please ask that the children aren't sent with football socks? It is so time consuming to change their socks when they're 5 years old and you've got a big group of them. But if it could just be their kit, please.
Yeah. And thank you very much for the feedback.
So if anybody else has got any other questions that crop up over the next few days, then please come and see us. But thanks very much for coming along. And yeah, this will be shared. Mr. Tuck will share this with parents so that you've got a copy of this in the coming days.
And I'd just like to say that I'm sure it's the same for Penguins, because I've been in there, and it's all, the children have made an absolutely fantastic start last week. They just really seemed very, very ready to be back at school, and we were very pleased to see them.
Yeah,
it's been fantastic.
Okay,
thank you.
Thanks very much. Take care. We'll see you soon. Thanks so much. Bye.
Bye.
Thank you.
It's not up there. Stop sharing.